Hi scholars, welcome back to Guided Reading. Today we are continuing to practice our five-finger retells, and this week we are reading a series of passages with a main character named Miguel. And so today I am going to model for you what I will be expecting you to do independently on Thursday. So first I want us to review the five-finger retell. Remember, our pinky is characters, ring finger is setting, tall finger problems, index finger is events, and our thumb is ending. So those are the 5 things we want to make sure we include when someone asks us to retell a story. Again, this is a very important part of your step testing. Retelling is usually what stops us from getting to the next step level. So we want to make sure that we really understand what exactly it means to retell a story. Remember, retelling a story means to give a very brief summary, only including very important details. And so these 5 fingers help you to remember what are those important details that I should include in my very brief or very short retell. So now that we have reviewed our retell hand, let's go to our passage. Our passages, your first sheet will look like this. We're going to read the story One Boring Saturday together, and I'm going to show you all how to complete the worksheet with your 5-finger retell. It's really simple and it does not take a lot of time, so I'm expecting everyone to complete this and everyone to put forth their best effort. So let's start reading. It says, one boring Saturday, raindrops splattered like asphalt, like a million exploding firecrackers. Miguel lined up toothpicks in the shape of a rocket ship on the counter. Working at his family sandwich shop was not Miguel's idea of an exciting Saturday afternoon. Neither was doing homework. He had an essay due on Monday, and of course, he hadn't even started. It's slow now, Miguel's mom said. Go start your essay. It's too hard, Miguel munched the last pickle from the jar. I can't write an essay about reading is an adventure. That doesn't sound so bad, Miguel's mom said. It does to me. Peel these. She slid a box of cucumbers over to him. Or start your essay. Not much of a choice, Miguel thought. Fine, I'll do the essay. He dragged himself to the back room and plopped down on a box. He stared at the lines on his paper. His mind was empty, like the pickle jar. How could reading be an adventure? So all of this, the passages you'll read independently are just as short as this one, okay? I really want us to make sure we can retell a short story before we start retelling longer books like chapter books and longer stories. So this is our story for today. Now I'm going to go to our handout, and yours will look exactly like this. So first, we have to identify the character. So what I'm going to do is go back to my passage and make sure I include each of the important characters in the story. Now, I don't have to go look into the picture to try to find out who is that in the background. I'm focused on the story that was being told, not the pictures. So I know that Miguel is a character. Okay, so I'm looking through to make sure no one else had a talking part on this first page, and then I go to my second page and I see here Miguel's mom. And when I reflect on what I read, I know the only person that spoke in the story was Miguel and Miguel's mom. So that is what I'm going to write here. Miguel and Miguel's mom. Okay, that's it. Those are the only characters in the story. Next is the setting. Okay, so we only have one setting here. And the setting is just, where did this take place? So let's go back to the story. Even if you feel like you know, go back to the story and check just so you can be 100% sure. So it says on the first page that working at his family's sandwich shop was not Miguel's idea of an exciting Saturday afternoon. Okay, so they are at the family sandwich shop. So I'm going to write the setting is Miguel's family sandwich okay, that's where the setting took place. Okay. Next, I want to identify any problems in the story. There was only one main problem that I can recall from this story, and that was that Miguel had an essay due on Monday that he had not started yet. Okay, he had an essay he had not started, and he did not feel like completing it. He did not know what to write. So the problem is Miguel has an essay due Monday, and he has not started working on it, and he does not feel like writing it. Okay, very simple. And just to make sure that my retail is accurate, or that my problem is accurate, it says here Miguel's idea of an exciting Saturday afternoon. Working at his family's sandwich shop was not Miguel's idea of an exciting Saturday afternoon. Neither was doing homework, so I already knew that was a problem. He had an essay due on Monday, and of course he hadn't started. So half of this first paragraph already tells us the problem. And then here it says, peel these. She slid a box of cucumbers over to him, or start your essay. So that also goes back and shows us again that Miguel's mom was trying to motivate him to do his essay. So that is the problem. Being that it was a short story, there was only one problem. But when we start getting to longer stories, there will be more than one problem that you will have to identify. And lastly, the events. Something that happened, like what was a big part of the story. So the event in this story would be where Miguel's mom said, peel these. She slid a box of cucumbers over to him, or start your essay. So that's where Miguel's mom said either you're going to write this essay, or you're going to work. You're going to peel these cucumbers. So that's an event that I identified. I want you to take the time to see if you can identify another event that would be significant enough or important enough for us to include in our retell. Although there are different things, like in the beginning of the story where Miguel lined up toothpicks in the shape of a rocket ship, that's not something important for someone to understand what this story was about. So it's very important when you're identifying events in your story that you know what is important enough for me to have to mention. Can I tell this story without mentioning this part? If you don't have to mention it for people to understand what happened, it's not something that you should include in your retell. So the only event that's worth mentioning in this story is that Miguel's mom told him to either peel a box of cucumbers or start his essay. Okay. So I'm going to write that here. Okay. And lastly is our ending. So what happened at the end of the story? What's the last that we heard of Miguel working on his essay or trying to solve the problem? And you will find that here in the last paragraph. He said, fine, I'll do the essay. He dragged himself to the back room and plopped down on a box. He stared at the lines on his paper. His mind was empty like the pickle jar. How could reading be an adventure? So what I would say in the ending is Miguel chose to begin writing his essay and his mind was empty. So letting the readers know that he chose to write his essay, but that does not mean he got started exactly right away. Okay, he still didn't know what to write about, but he sat down to try to complete his essay. So for the ending, Miguel decided to write his essay even though his mind was empty. So let me explain to you how you put your story retell all together. So if someone were to ask me, Miss Brady, what is the story One Boring Saturday about? This is how I would type it here on the screen. One Boring Sunday is about Miguel and his mom who are at the family sandwich shop. So there I already included my characters and the setting in one sentence. Next, Miguel has an essay due Monday and he had not started working on it and he did not feel like writing it. Miguel's mom said he had to write the essay or peel a box of cucumbers. Miguel decided to start writing his essay, even though his mind was empty. Okay, so this is exactly, if someone were to ask you what was this story about, what I have here in this very short paragraph or very short series of sentences is what you should include. Okay, I know sometimes when if we just read the book and did not do our 5-finger retell, we might say, it was about Miguel. Well, who else was in the story? His mom too. What did he do? Well, he was playing with toothpicks and he didn't want to do his homework. When we retell without knowing what we need to include, our story sounds very confusing. So this is how our 5-finger retell can come together to make sure we only include those important details. Now, if you were to receive this question on your step test and you provided an answer like this, you would definitely pass the retell section of the step assessment. So when you are taking your step test, it's okay for you to use your hands and say, okay, characters, okay, setting, problem, events, and ending. That is perfectly okay. The step test is not it's not timed, so make sure you're taking your time when you're practicing your retell. So that is it for today. I hope you all feel confident in your retell. If not, please make sure you go back and visit older videos where I first introduced the concept so you just understand what we are doing. But I'm pretty sure you all are following along. Your work has been looking really good. And next lesson, you will be working 100% independent. So I will give you directions on what you are to read. And then you're on your own. I cannot wait to see how well you all do on your retell. I will see you next time.